Hey, this is Jason Morris with Real Estate Agents That Really Work, and today I've got Ryan Hightower on the call with me, and Ryan's doing some really cool things with Air Bnb. So I tell you what, Ryan, you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hey, Jason. Great. Thanks for having me on the show. Great to be here, and hopefully we can kind of share some knowledge, answer some questions today that some other people can benefit from too. I'm a realtor. I live in Phoenix, Arizona. Divorced, father of 5 kids, all girls. Been doing real estate about the last 15 years or so. And kind of serial entrepreneur, kind of always got my hands in some other things. I have a business buying and selling on Amazon and some other things.
Yeah.
But more recently, kind of stumbled across the whole Airbnb scene, and only about maybe 4 months into this or so, and we've just really been having some good success with that, and I guess that's mostly probably what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, well, like what I think that we should make this call about is something that the agents that work with us and listening to, not only can they use it to get a little bit more information, maybe they can even pass it and share it on to their clients, and maybe you can share some different strategies you've seen in your research and that you're doing yourself. So Airbnb, for those of you guys that don't know what it is, Airbnb is I tell you what, Ryan, do you want to explain it? I don't really know if I can explain it. It's kind of like a vacation rent by owner thing, right?
Exactly. Very similar. VRBO is another big one, vacation rental by owner, like you just mentioned. And it basically, kind of like the whole EXP Realty thing. I mean, it's the Uber, it's the Netflix. The Airbnb has taken and matched up people that own houses, whether they be just regular homes or there's some really interesting stuff on there too. I'm a huge fan and very passionate about earth homes and sustainable living. There's off-grid stuff on there. There's waterfront properties on there. There's regular, simple bread and butter 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses, anything and everything. And so it's taken those owners who have their places, and it matches them up with people that want to rent those places. Either so there's like a user traveler side of it, and then there's like an owner host side of it. And I'm on both sides of the fence when we, I mean, I guess that answers your first question of what it is. But as an example, I took my girlfriend and her 5 kids and me and my 5 kids to Disneyland for Christmas, and we had a need for 3 hotel rooms to put up 12 people while we were at Disneyland. And I rented out my house and my girlfriend's house on Airbnb while we were on that trip, and it more than paid for our accommodations at Disneyland on those same days that we wouldn't have been in our house anyway. So kind of cool. You can do stuff like that.
No kidding. So when you guys were out of town, you rented your personal house. Are you worried about, like, when you do something like that, are you worried about, like, people, like, looking through your stuff or stealing something? How do you prevent that?
That's probably the number one question that people ask me. I'm a bit of a minimalist. I don't have, a lot of fancy things, jewelry or cash around the house or anything. But I'll first, kind of answer that question by saying, they've thought of everything. There's systems in place. There's review systems in place for both directions. They have insurance. They have $1 million policy in place if something happens, if something turns up missing or your property is destroyed or vandalized. They've been, it's not their first rodeo. Airbnb rents more rooms. Marriott was the largest hotel. I heard this stat Saturday at an unrelated event. They rent 6 times more rooms in dollar revenue than Marriott does, and they own no rooms. It's a website, It's a booking website
Oh,
that connects
yeah.
owners.
It's like Uber.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
it's very, very much like Uber. So I got a client that's doing a lot of VRBO down in Charleston, South Carolina, and in the one I guess the properties he has they're fairly high end for down there. I mean, they're renting for $500-600 a night, and he's using VRBO. And I was asking him, we were eating dinner with him the other night, and I said, hey, are you using Air Bnb? And I told him I think we'd set up this call already. But I asked him about Airbnb, and he told me that the Airbnb demographic is a little bit younger than VRBO. And he said that he felt like VRBO was a little bit older and they could afford to spend a little bit more money on a rental.
That's probably true. I've noticed that our higher end bookings, the ones that have all gone for more money, have all been off of VRBO.
So, and I've seen too, like, I got a client right now. I just sold, for you guys listening to it, for new guys that haven't never heard me, I live close to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. That's the market I work in. I got a client that just bought 2 oceanfront studios in this place called Myrtle Beach Resort. You know, it's an older resort. You know, it's got some nice amenities and stuff, but the on-site office doesn't do real good there. You know, they're like typically $6,000-8,000 a year rental incomes. You know, she just bought them the end of last year, and she's already booked over $40,000 for this year.
Wow.
Those 2 places costed her like gross $100,000, and
wow.
she's doing that. And the way she got into this thing, Ryan, and this blew my mind, was that she told me, I've known her for a while, and she told me, she goes, oh, you won't believe this, I've been doing Airbnb in my 2 extra bedrooms at my house. And my first thought was, oh my God, somebody's going to murder you, you know. But when I first heard about it, she told me, my idea was like, it was the equivalent of like posting an ad on Craigslist, you know, for a roommate. I mean, but it's not like that, is what you're saying.
It's not, and you quickly find out. So that's a fact. You can do either rooms, either a portion of your house, or like I rent out my whole house. But you quickly find out too, Jason, that it's a community. It's very much like you know, people stay repeat stays, and they connect with people. I've made some really good friends from people that have rented the house. I would say I've stayed in touch with most of them, but it's a community. It's a social media community too. I mean, I wouldn't say like to the extent of, you know, Facebook or something where you're interacting with them every day, but there's feedback. It's a connection. It's a travel community. And most people I would say are like myself. They're both a host and a traveler. And so I've never, you know, we're probably 24 rentals in. So, I mean, I'm new at this, but we've never had an issue. I mean, we've written some very clear instructions on, you know, welcome instructions and how to leave the place, and everything is always, you know, it just needs to be cleaned. We just need to bring the house cleaner in and turn it over, wash the sheets, wash the towels, clean the bathrooms.
So what kind of screening happens with the people that are looking at staying in your house?
They well, you can choose to vet your person at whatever level you feel like it. They have basically like a general background check, and you upload a government ID, a driver's license or whatever that takes place. Now, the one weak point that I've seen is there's really nothing to stop somebody from, you know, it is possible that somebody could make a reservation under one name and have somebody with their party that's not on the reservation, or, you know, somebody else entirely use the stay. I suppose that's certainly possible. I know for myself, before I accept a reservation, I always look at this person's reviews. You know, how many they have good reviews across the board. Have they stayed a bunch of times? You know, like that would really, first of all, somebody in that situation, you know, they'd be concerned about doing something like that, about somebody borrowing their profile or whatever. Yeah. I just think, I don't know, I'm an abundance thinker. I'm not a, you can get trapped in fear all day. I mean, the bottom line is, I'm sure there are isolated cases every once in a great while where something, something turns up missing or something is damaged.
Of course.
There's insurance. There's insurance through both of those websites, and then I have extra insurance with our agent too, that they know it's being Air Bnb short term rented out, and so there's coverage if something goes wrong. And then we're, as far as like I know you're joking, but being murdered in the house or whatever, like we're not there. Most of these people, most of them come and go with welcome and checkout instructions. Most of them I've never met face to face.
No kidding. Well, she was actually like renting out one of her rooms while she was staying in the house.
Yeah.
So she was basically just renting out a spare bedroom, and one of the questions I asked her, I said, well, what do you do? Like, say it's night, and she goes, well, like we'll watch TV together, maybe like in the morning, I'll make some coffee and offer him some, and I'm going, yeah, it was an interesting conversation, she had. So when you're renting out your personal house, so the house that you're in, you live in this house. Is it in a homeowners association or anything like that?
It is. It's in an HOA. So I live in a very modest, very average. It is a gated community. It's a small gated community, but in Phoenix. This is probably a $225,000 house, 4-bedroom, 2.5 baths, like 1,800 square feet. Very average home, nothing high end. And there's all sorts of reasons that people would need a house in any area in the country, but on mine, I happen to be close to some of the spring training baseball facilities. So, one of them I'm only like a mile and a half away from. So all of March, I had mine rented out 29 out of 31 days in March for $400 a night, like $12,000 for March.
Wow.
My house payment's $1,200, So like it almost paid for it for the year in 1 month. And
no kidding.
Most of the rest of the year is about $200 a night in our market, but that's what's kind of cool is you can go on the site and see what demand is. You can see what prices are. You can see how booked or how empty something is.
So don't they allow you to do some sort of algorithm too, where they book based on demand?
Yeah, they have a smart pricing switch that you can turn on or off. So if I flip that on, it'll say, it also is an algorithm. It'll automatically say, $168 a night. Okay, this is a Friday night, $394 a night.
So you can actually do that, and you could be renting your house more than what you rented already.
Yeah, I've found that seems to be my personal experience with that has been that it misses the mark a lot of times. That I can do better. That I can when it's busy, I can charge way more than it thinks it can charge.
Yeah, so you can move it up and down as you basically see fit.
In the first 6 months, I've determined that like the bottom line is you can be as full as you choose to be based on pricing. If I wanted to be 100% full all the time, there would be some nights in the summer, in July and August in Arizona, where I drop the price to $99 a night or whatever. But peak season, snowbirds, baseball, Barrett Jackson comes to town, the Arabian horse shows come to town, a lot of snowbirds there in general, January, February, March, April. $200 to $500 a night for a regular house. Nothing fancy.
Now, let me ask you, because I have a lot of questions about this. So, like, what do your neighbors think about it?
I think I've heard that there's some HOAs that really have issue with it, but ours, I think they're totally unsuspecting of it. There's nothing written in our HOA that we're not allowed to do it, but, I know I have a buddy in Oceanside or Carlsbad, California, and like he lives in a complex that is a bunch of nosy neighbors, and the owner of his unit lives in the same complex. Like, I think he would probably have a bit tougher of a time in a situation like that. But for mine, it just looks like, mine just looks like it just has guests coming and going. I mean, I don't think anybody even suspects that a rental is taking place.
Yeah, like my neighborhood I live in, for example, I'm not even sure my neighbor would actually probably prefer that I didn't even live there. They prefer that nobody lived next door versus somebody moving in and out all the time. But so you guys are getting. I mean, that's a fairly large amount. How does your I guess did you have to get any type of business license to be able to do it, or?
No, so like in Maricopa County in Arizona, they collect a rental tax too. I think it's like 1.8%. And we used to have to be responsible for collecting it and filling out the form and all that ourselves. But now Airbnb has taken on that responsibility. They collect it, they pay it in. So
really, so you don't even have to touch it.
Yeah, I'm sure the answer to that question is, check with your local laws or whatever. But for me, it's been a non-issue. It's not even been something that I've had to file any paperwork or anything to stay in compliance.
So now, if I was interested, let's say I was interested in putting my personal house on Airbnb.
Yep.
Okay. What would you recommend me doing? Do I need to go out and have professional pictures made? Can I, what will we do to get started?
That's my suggestion. What I did and what I would suggest somebody doing. Pictures are everything. Just like when we take a listing, we're both realtors.
Yeah.
I would bring in a house cleaner. I mean, clean, declutter, get rid of as much as as much personal effects as possible. I have you had asked about valuables and stuff. I have like a go bag, so like when I'm not there, I'll throw my laptops and Rolex and stuff in it, and like I'm not going to leave that stuff in the house. But everything else is just it's beds and kitchen table and couch, and you'd be hard pressed to book a stay and leave with the couch and beds, I think.
Yeah, if they want to steal your couch, man, everybody's got a problem, I feel like.
You got bigger problems. And then most of these bookings are not one night. Most of them are like 3 to 7 nights. I mean, like you still know exactly who rented your house. You've got their credit card number, and you've got their $1,500 or $2,000. And they're not there to steal your shit. I guarantee you.
Yeah, of course. Of course. So let's say somebody wants to rent your house. What do you do? Where do you go? Are you going and staying somewhere else? Or?
Yeah, I guess let's finish up the last question too. So I'd bring in the house cleaner. I would absolutely have professional pictures taken. And then it's pretty straightforward to throw a listing on there. It's free to list. They get their fees if and when there's a paid booking. You can book out the calendar. You can block out dates. You can set all these quote rules up of how much notice do you need and minimum number of days. So like for me, this ties into your second question. I have my kids. I have my daughters every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So right now, I block out and X out Friday and Saturday nights, which are the big money nights. And I've determined, we've done a few weekends where we're traveling at the same time. So, like, if I have a big money booking for Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, I'll just take the kids somewhere. I'll take them up to the mountains, or we'll go camping, or we'll, go stay at the girlfriend's house or whatever. But I've kind of, just personal pattern, I've kind of I like being in my house when I have my kids. It's home for all of us. The rest of the time, I'm kind of a free spirit. I don't mind, crashing at my girlfriend's or us taking a little day trip or road trip somewhere. This all started, Jason, with a need not a need, but a desire. I'm kind of like the 4-hour work week guy, the Tim Ferriss stuff.
Yeah.
Like the, not loaded, not make a millionaire today, but kind of building stuff in that direction over the long haul, building these businesses.
Of course.
And enjoying a lifestyle now, not a delayed retirement, you know. And,
of course.
you know, I'm doing this interview from outside the hospital, taking care of my mom, and like I'm looking at her at 63 years old of all the things that she didn't get to do, that, you know. And so this all started from a personal desire to work from Rocky Point, Mexico, like 3 or 4 days each week when I didn't have my kids. And I realized that if my house that I live in would rent out for $200 to $400 or $500 a night, say $200 a night conservatively, and I can rent an oceanfront, beachfront condo in Rocky Point, which is only 3.5, 4 hours away from Phoenix, for $150 a night, that
makes
I'm traveling
sense.
for free. I'm living oceanfront for free, like including everything, including gas and meals and everything. And so it started with I haven't quite got that dialed in yet. Life's been busy lately, but we've taken some other trips. But that's kind of what got it started, and it's been interesting. It's been neat. We're buying another home right now, a new construction, and we're trying to decide what to do with this house. You know, do we sell it or keep it as a rental? And I thought, you know what? Let's just my girlfriend Allie and I let's just buy the new house, and let's keep your house as an Airbnb, and let's keep my house as an Airbnb. Like, this is great. This should I have a $1,200 payment on mine. This should bring in, even in the slow months, it should bring in like $5,000 or $6,000 a month. Like, it's positive after utilities and everything. It's positive, like $3,000 or $4,000 a month or more.
Yeah, let's talk about that from an investment standpoint, because I think that's very interesting. You know, most of us, and this is myself, you know, I think about like, hey, buying a rental unit that's like in a regular neighborhood or something, and like I think, hey, man, I got to get an annual tenant in there. And to be honest, that house that you have, how much would it rent out, like, say, on the rental market, do you think, if it just rented to a tenant with a 12-month lease?
1,400.
1,400. Let's say 1,400.
Yeah.
Let's say 1,400. Okay, your payment's 1,200. Does that include taxes and insurance?
Yes.
Okay, 1,200 includes everything. Okay, so you're going to make $2,400 over the course of the year cash flow, saying nothing breaks, you know. Nothing breaks, everybody pays on time, everything's good, you know. You're going to make $2,400. And I'm sure that there's going to be some maintenance issue that you and I will never believe is going to happen. I used to manage like 250 rental units, and there will always be something like completely unforeseen that's, you know, you go, oh my God, I never thought. So that $2,400, hopefully that covers that unforeseen thing. But this Airbnb, I mean, you've already had 1 month that you've made. Well, let's go back here. Okay, the $1,200 a month. Okay, so it's going to cost you $14,400 a year to hold that house, just paying payments, taxes, and insurance, no repairs.
Yep. And
okay,
my complete,
you made $12,000 in 1 month.
Exactly. Yep. My complete cost to bring in a house cleaning crew after each tenant, which I had a regular house cleaning girl come once a week anyway. But house cleaning, utilities, even electric in the summer in Arizona, utilities, cable, internet, and the payment, everything $2,000 a month, all inclusive. So
and that's everything,
over
cleaning.
Yeah. Even a slow month on Airbnb is $150 a night. So say, what is that, $4,500 a month?
$4,500 a month. So let's just say 4,000. Let's just say 4,000. Maybe, you know, you had bad pictures. You had pictures that I took with my cell phone. You know, so you've got, so your net is $2,000 a month. After electricity, everything. So you're taking a house that honestly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, or if you think I'm wrong here, but you're taking a house that as a regular annual rental, it'd be an okay investment. Like, it would break even every month. You probably wouldn't have to come out of pocket. You're taking a break even type investment home. And I know we're talking about your personal residence like it's an investment home, but
no, I'm
but it's going to be here soon. You're taking a
Yep.
break-even investment property. You're taking it from break-even to a $24,000 a year net.
Yep. Net.
Net. Yeah, net rental income.
Yep. Yeah, it's
That's
awesome, man. That's what I was saying before we got on the call. Like, so there's some different strategies here. There's travel for free. Your place is paying for wherever you're traveling or staying while you're traveling. There is pay off a property in 5 years or 7 years, right? Like, think about, this is a $200,000 house. If I threw an extra $2 or $3 or $4 grand a month at it, how quickly I could pay that off.
Yeah.
You know,
You'd have some serious equity very quickly.
Say even conservatively, 10 years max paying a property off with this, which is, way faster than 30 years or 15 years. There is, if somebody, I have a need for, say, $10,000 a month just to keep my head above water with, kids and regular bills and stuff. But if somebody was living on, if somebody was single or just had a very simple lifestyle and they were living on $2 or $3 grand a month, you absolutely could do this for a living, whether you owned the house or not, whether you rented or owned the house. Like, you absolutely could pull $2 or $3 grand a month from something like this and have that be your complete financial freedom. Have that be your instead of a job strategy, which I think is amazing, right? That's something that somebody could do today without saving $1 million or anything.
So technically, you don't even have to own the house.
Right.
It could be a house that you're renting and then you're subletting basically on Airbnb. As long as I guess you would need to make sure your lease would allow that.
I have no doubt that most leases don't allow it, and I have no doubt that that's probably one of the terms of use inside of Airbnb is that
I'm sure.
probably technically is supposed to own the house. But I can tell you for a fact that a lot of people do it, and that as long as there's no problems, as long as rent gets paid on time, and as long as, that they're not having any issues, Now,
let me ask you, how do you handle cleaning?
Cleaning?
Yeah.
I had a regular, you said cleaning, right? Like house cleaning?
Yes, cleaning, like house cleaning.
Yeah. So I have a regular house cleaning girl that comes in every Tuesday, and she does an awesome job, 4 hours, $60. I'm super reasonable. I've since had to, she's got me in a pretty regular slot. I've since had to get like 2 or 3 like backup things in place so that if I take a same day booking or, if I've had situations where one party leaves early, they send me a text and they're like, hey, we know we're paid for through Saturday, but we're done with our trip here. We're heading home. And you throw it back on and rent it again. I mean, got double income on some days. So where I have to do a quick turnover. So I put it, like everything, I put it on Facebook. I'm like, hey, I'm looking for house cleaner referral. So I've got like 3 backups that like 2 of them at any given time could turn the house this afternoon if needed, including strip the beds, wash the sheets, wash all the towels, scrub the house top to bottom. They're a little bit pricier, but so I would leave more than one. Cover yourself. Have some backup options.
Have a backup.
Especially as much as I'm not around. Like I'm in Louisiana right now. That house is in Arizona, and we're taking bookings while I'm here. Like I'm not there to turn the house over. And I didn't know 2 days ago. I didn't know I needed to hop on a plane and be here, but that's how it is. And meanwhile,
the life is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess the people that are getting there, do you put a key like under the mat for them, or you use like one of those little private combination lock boxes or something?
Full transparency, I've just been hiding a key for people, but we have an appointment set up with Cox Communications when we get back, where they're putting the whole alarm system and some video cameras and stuff. But one of the things that they're putting in is that whole like remote locking system. I can open the front door I can open the garage door, I can unlock the front door, I can change the code to the front door. It's all app driven. I can look at any of the cameras. You got to be careful with, too many cameras inside the house or whatever, but certainly cameras like on the front porch and back porch and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, the right way to do it, and Airbnb even has a special lock that they discount and promote that is friendly for both sides. It's a digital, secure, heavy duty thing that I've seen it on a few of the places we've stayed at. We just got back from Florida and rented a gorgeous, brand new 7-bedroom, 5-bath townhouse, brand new, for like $169 a night. It had the whole,
Wow.
digital lock system on it. Pretty cool.
So as a renter, you can, if you shop around and look through some of the things, you can get some real deals, it sounds like.
Yeah, they do. I'll tell you, they do some like lightning deals and stuff. People that are just trying to fill up certain days specifically. There's some deals on there for sure. And I've often wondered, I think there's an arbitrage opportunity there too. I think there's an opportunity. You probably, just like if you were renting and re-renting a place, I mean, by the book, you probably would want to have permission to do it. But I think there's some opportunities to like cut a deal and rent a whole place off of Airbnb for, $2,000 a month, and then piece it out by the night for $300 a night, or piece out parts of the house to different parties. I think there's absolutely an arbitrage opportunity there.
Yeah, I heard about this guy that was, I don't know him. I've never talked to him or anything, but this is one of the first times I heard about Airbnb, somebody doing kind of what you're doing. And this guy was renting apartments in a lot of different cities. And he had some that apparently, annual rentals were low, but nightly rentals were kind of high. And he said he was getting permission from stuff in his lease to be able to sublet. And to be honest with you, who knows? Maybe he was paying a little extra for that. But at the same time, I guess who's to say, like, hey, I've got guests for tonight,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how that works. I'm not sure.
I'll tell you what, Jason, I just had an opportunity. Had another Facebook friend that posted. All she does is handle short-term rentals for investor clients of hers.
Yeah.
Just bookings. She doesn't do any property management. And I saw she had a Facebook post of a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, fully furnished condo for a guy in Scottsdale. He's an absentee owner. And their play, they try to do full months, and they try to do short-term leases, like 1 to 3 months, 1 to 4 months. And It was a Facebook post. It was a Craigslist ad on a Facebook post. And this place rents out peak season in Scottsdale for $2,500 a month. And I reached out to her, and she put me in touch with him. If all she does is connect, she just puts people with their owners. If it works out, he kicks her $100. That's their deal.
Yes.
And so she put me in touch with him, and I looked to see where it was, and I looked for the month of March. So our spring training runs basically all of March for baseball for a number of teams. This was right near one of the spring training facilities, $2,500 for the month. I looked on Airbnb and VRBO. There was nothing to be found, and this place was comping $700 a night.
Oh,
so
my
over
God.
$20,000 for the month. And I said, I'll take it. I said, will you give it to me for the month? $250 security deposit, fully furnished.
Wow.
And $2,500. I said, will you give it to me for only March? And he said, yeah, I'll do that. He says, I think you're 3 or 4 hours late. He's like, I got another guy that took a temporary nursing job at the Mayo Clinic, and he's like, if he doesn't follow through, if I don't come home today and find the FedEx of the cashier's check and the signed, document, the signed agreement, he says, if I don't come home and find that on my doorstep, it's yours. And unfortunately for me, I just missed it, but that's the opportunity that was out there just by raising my awareness to it. I was going to be able to rent this 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo for $2,500 for 1 month. So I've got like very little money into it, very little risk. And this place was rented for $700 a night, $21,000 for the month. And so I have it for next year, though. He gave it to me for next March.
No kidding. So, man, that's unbelievable. So putting up $2,000 to make $20,000, I would do that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
And
I've done
it's not
stupider
fun,
things for $2,500.
Can I tell you real quick about the Vegas thing that we were talking
Oh
about?
yeah, I want to hear about that too. Yeah, you were telling me about that. So tell everybody else about it.
So I don't want to take you off task on your question, but it kind of ties in. So I went to see Tony Robbins and Eric Worre and Richard Branson speak in December, early or mid-December, and with a friend of mine, my friend Danielle, and she was kind of in charge. We both got our tickets. She was kind of in charge of picking out where to stay, and sorry, traffic. I said, yeah, I'm easy. Whatever makes sense, do a hotel deal or Airbnb deal or whatever makes sense. Just keep us close to the convention center. So she was trying to, save some money or whatever, and she finds this Airbnb, and it was a little misrepresented. I mean, one of the pictures was a picture of the Wynn Hotel, which is $500 a night hotel.
Yeah.
But the lady was trying to show that, like, this is how close I am to the Strip. I'm one block off of the Strip, Not that she wasn't trying to represent that it was a room at this fancy hotel. And so she books this place. It's like, I think, $69 a night for the 4 or 5 nights that we're there. And we get there. So, like, don't miss the concept here, right? Like, what we rolled up on and where we stayed, it was an adventure. I mean, I told Danielle, I'm like, I don't want to scare you or anything, but a day or two before we left for the trip, I said, have you read the reviews and stuff on this? And she said, no, why? I'm like, we rolled up on this place, and, like, the unit itself was fine. The unit itself was decorated real nice and everything, but, man, it was sketchy. It was bars over the window. It was barbed wire. It was a rough part of town. And this is Vegas. I mean, so, anything's possible in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
But it was rough. It was like almost like a projects type apartment complex, like kind of like a slum apartment complex. But here's the concept. Check this out. So we get there, and the property manager is who had the listing up, and our point of contact was their existing handyman. We were texting him. He got us keys. He got us whatever we needed, towels and stuff. And I started looking at it. I'm like, well, wait a second. So this is like a 50-unit complex. You know how cap rates work and stuff, right?
Yeah, of course.
Commercial properties and apartment complexes where if people on the call don't know what cap rates are, where basically the value of the property is determined by the income or the net operating income. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, wow, shitty property and an adventure for us for 4 or 5 days. But don't miss the concept. They took a 1-bedroom, 1-bath studio apartment that probably rented for $450 or $500 a night, and they're renting it out 100% of the time for $70 and $90 and $100 a night. So they've got a unit that they were getting $500 a night for, but now they're getting $2,500 or $3,000 a month for the unit, times 10 or 15 of the 50 units. Now, it probably is too much saturation to do that with the whole entire complex, but they just increased their cash flow like probably $20,000 a month on this shitty apartment complex. And I'm thinking, holy crap, now multiply that out by whatever cap rate. Somebody, just by Airbnb-ing this complex, but 10 or 15 units in the complex, with the existing management in place, just listing those units on there, going to whatever, some furniture places, getting some beds, getting some yard sale furniture. Like, somebody increased the value of this apartment complex probably $250,000 or $500,000, depending on a lot of things, depending on vacancy rates, depending on cap rates. But somebody just forced the value of this asset way up just by Airbnb-ing some of the units. I was like, wow. Holy crap.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You could do that. You could do that either on your own, or you could approach other apartment complex owners and say, this is what I got in mind. I'm going to bring all this value to the table, and I want a piece of the action, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways you could do that. You could kind of structure some sort of joint venture, some sort of split of profits or rents from those units or something.
Something, yeah, whatever. I mean, the bottom line is, like, value is what gets compensated, right? So whatever, I mean, think about if I owned 10 complexes like that and somebody came to me with that, and especially if they had a track record already, and they said, I'm going to make your $1 million apartment complex worth $1.5 million. Here's my plan. Here's how you're protected. Here's what I want out of it. I would say do it. I would say knock yourself out. Let's do it, you know?
You at least want to hear them out, wouldn't you? Or I feel like I'd at least want to hear them out some.
Yeah, but that's, you know, the general concept, and you kind of hit on it earlier on the call, is, I hope I'm not being too chatty.
Oh, no, not at all.
You can take a mediocre or an okay investment and make it a rock star investment, be it an apartment complex or a regular, normal 3-bedroom, 2-bath property that you paid full market price for. You know, market's hot right now in most of the U.S. markets. It's hard to get an offer accepted. It's hard to get a deal on something. But, you know, this is something you could take a normally okay or mediocre or fair investment and make it an amazing, incredible investment just by putting these concepts into place, just by, you know, making it a short-term vacation rental.
So I got a question. I feel like a lot of people's probably got the same question. And then I tell you what, let me ask this, and then how about if we open it up so everybody can ask questions?
That'd be great.
So, okay, how much does it cost to do Airbnb? Like, what's the cost? Say I got my house, looks good, I got nice furniture in it, got good pictures. What's it cost for me to throw it up there on the website?
So to list, let's talk VRBO at the same time too, because I keep it listed on both. That doubles your exposure. I agree with your assessment on that. Seems to be a little bit older demographic, a little bit more well-to-do demographic. To list on both sites is no cost. There's no cost to join a membership or to list the property initially. I would absolutely do professional photos, like you said. So the listing is free. You can do all kinds of, I mean, I get this idea all the time. I don't want to mislead anybody or anything, but, man, I think about testing different potential properties on Airbnb all the time. You would know. I mean, you would know whether they're
kind of curious about that, too.
Yeah. And
like if it's a unique property.
Yeah, yep. Their fees come out of the booking. So Airbnb's fees are much more reasonable than VRBO's. I think it's 3% is what it works out to be, 2.5% or 3%.
That's not bad.
If I take $1,000 booking for 3 nights, they end up taking like $35 or something. It's really reasonable. You get paid right away on Airbnb, 24 hours after check-in.
Really?
VRBO, the fees seem to average about 15% on VRBO, and they seem to hold on to your money longer. Sometimes you're a week or two, you know, getting paid after somebody checks out.
So VRBO charges an upfront fee too, don't they?
I don't believe there's a couple of different choices. Yeah, there's a couple of different options. The one I'm on is just they get a piece of the booking. There's nothing up front.
No kidding. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's open it up. Let's ask everybody if they've got some questions here. Let's see.
That'd be great, man.
Yes. Do you guys have any questions for Ryan about Airbnb and what he's doing?
I have a question.
Sure. Go ahead. Who are you? Tell us who you are.
This is Jeff Morris, Jason. We'd spoken when you first came on board with EXP.
Yeah, you're right.
My question for Ryan is insurance. Do you have to get extra insurance for this?
Hey, Jeff, that's a great question. I don't know that you have to. I know that I do. Airbnb doesn't require it. They have a $1 million liability policy, and it covers damage and vandalism and theft and all that stuff. But my insurance agent said that I should have this special rider that covers anything that policy should happen to not cover if something should ever happen.
Makes sense.
It's very reasonable. That what do they call it? It's like an add-on to the homeowner's policy. It's very inexpensive. I think it was around $100 or $150 for the year.
Good. Well, I've had an Airbnb account. I just haven't needed to use it, and we've got a rental, or I should say, a cottage property that it might make a lot of sense for in Michigan. You know, it's a very touristy area.
Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out for sure.
Cool. Thanks to both.
Cool,
yeah,
man. What are the questions you guys have? I know we got quite a few people on the call, right?
Yeah, I got probably 10 or 12 texts. Some people are having difficulty getting on the call today.
Oh, yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Oh, yeah. Hey, how are you? Who are you?
Oh, this is Karen. I actually had a question, but he already answered it. My question was about how you furnish the property. You were talking earlier about people that were renting out properties in places that they had rented and then putting on Airbnb. And we stayed at a great condo in downtown Dallas that was just fabulous. And the guy was telling us, so they pay $2,100, I think it was, a month, and they were making about $5,000 a month, and they had several properties throughout Dallas that they were doing that with. And we were like, we have to get in on this. But then we priced the bed that we were sleeping in, which that was why we stayed there, because everyone raved about the bed. And he had like a $5,000 bed in there.
Wow.
But like the furniture in the living room wasn't, it almost looked like, to me, it looked like IKEA. It looked like everything was like IKEA because we have one there. So I was like, kids so do this because it's so cheap. But the building paid for all the renovations as far as the granite and the countertop and the cabinets, things like that. But, so that was my question, was how do you rent, stage it, not the property you live in, but the other ones that you have that are not your personal residences?
Yeah, so a little bit of everything. I mean, my existing property is just the existing same thing, like mediocre, okay furniture that I have. I don't have fancy furniture. I have kids, and they're rough on everything. The plan is to buy nice stuff after they all get out of the house. But I know my girlfriend, we had talked to the house 3 or 4 doors down from me was for rent, and we were talking to them about what we wanted to do with it. And I know my girlfriend had an option to fully stage that house for like $550 a month. New beds, a couch, kitchen table, lamps, paintings. It was $500 or $600 a month to fully stage it. So that was one option. What you have to start, staging's an option, staging company. IKEA is great. We have an IKEA here in Tempe, Arizona. Like you could fully set a place up for probably 10 or 15 grand. So a little bit of expense there. And then of course, like I told you guys about the condo, I mean, there's another option too. There are opportunities out there to take a place that's already furnished and Airbnb it. So I think there's, it just comes down to how creative can you get with it. But ultimately, it just comes down to, I talk to so many people about so many different ideas. I mean, just take the first step. I mean, put your place on there, have some pictures taken, and put it on there, and see what demand is, and see what bookings would bring, and then you can, we've had to full transparency. I'm such a huge fan of transparency and authenticity and telling people where you've had some struggle and, helping them with shortcuts and stuff. So, like, I don't drink coffee at all. I just don't. And 2 of the initial feedbacks I had, private feedback from guests, were there's no coffee maker and there's no coffee mugs. I'm like, well, that's an easy problem to solve. I guess the rest of the world, I guess I'm the only one that doesn't drink coffee. Like, we go to Walmart, we buy a nice coffee maker and buy 10 or 12 coffee mugs, problem solved. Next guest is happy that there's, so you kind of learn these little things as you go. And, but setting a place up initially isn't the big hurdle that you might think it is.
You could probably do like a lot of these rent-to-own furniture stores they will rent you furniture for a month,
Yep.
If you go in and talk with them, they'll rent furniture to for a month, they rent it for 2 months. You don't have to have it for the next 10 years and pay it off,
Yeah.
You don't actually have to do the own part of rent to own furniture.
Yeah, there's a, we're leaving all of our furniture at her place, and we're leaving all of my furniture at my place. We're moving into this new house, having to completely furnish it, so, like moving in there literally with nothing, and we're having to answer all of these same questions. Do we do a rent to own washer and dryer until we find the exact one we want to buy? Do we yard sale and look for like end tables and lamps and knickknacks for the house, but let's go buy brand new beds for all the kids and us? There's a million different ways to piece together a solution.
Yeah, so that really it's really interesting. So yeah, you can be creative with this. So you could look around, find stuff off Craigslist that looks nice to furnish your place with. You could look at rent to own. There's a lot of stuff you could do with this whole Airbnb. So
the one common denominator that I've seen at places we've stayed at and that I would pass on as recommendation along those lines is sturdy. Durability is everything. Like if you have the choice, go for the sturdier kitchen table, living room couch, wall mount the TVs. Like people, these are families traveling. These are families like yours and mine with kids traveling, and they're as rough on stuff as my kids are. And I would be careful with the crystal vase or the fancy expensive lamp on the end table.
Of course, grandma's lamp that's sitting there that's 100 years old. Yeah, probably should stick that in the closet or in the attic when they're doing that. That's pretty interesting. My house, I get too much stuff to do this. I feel like
I've seen some people throw a lock on a bedroom or on a closet or two, and so like they'll throw all of their personal effects in that one locked bedroom or in that one locked walk-in closet. I've seen that a few times.
Wow, that's pretty interesting too.
We had one of the places in Florida. We didn't have access to the garage, and I'm sure their winter vehicle and probably some personal effects were probably in that garage locked up.
Yeah, that would actually make a lot of sense. A lot of vacation rentals here have owner's closets. They have a little closet, and typically the owner keep some personal items there, beach chairs, things that they don't really need wherever they come from. They only need when they're down here. So I guess these VRBO people, I guess you could do the same thing with your VRBO. Either keep it an extra bedroom or closet or whatever it may be.
Absolutely.
That's very interesting, man. So does anybody else have any other questions or anything want to ask Brian?
Just get started.
Just get pictures and get started.
Yeah. You guys, if it's all right with you too, Jason, I mean, feel free to, you guys can message me or reach out to me on Facebook if there's questions after the fact. I know we're going to pump a replay out there, and we'll probably do this again at some point.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I'll tell you what, Ryan, it doesn't sound like anybody's got any questions, and we've been going about an hour here, and man, it's been really interesting. Like I've been taking it all in, and I've been making notes here, just because I think I have clients that I think this would be like this. I think this is a really good call to like send some of your investor clients. You know what I mean? That they've got a rental property they're struggling with or something, or you just sold them something and they're trying to figure out what exactly to do with it, and it's an investment. Or, maybe that second home that they bought in your market that they're just not really using, For me, I have a lot of second home people that, they buy stuff and honestly it just kind of sits there for sometimes really years, and they come down 2 or 3 times a year and that's it. So it's quite interesting, man. So if anybody has any questions for you, Ryan, how could they get in touch with you?
Yeah, usually Facebook's usually easiest. Just friend me up on Facebook or shoot me a message on Facebook. I'm a huge Facebook guy, and that's where I really enjoy connecting with people and trying to find ways to add value to their life.
Cool, man. Hey, well, that sounds really great. Well, I'm in the recording, and thank you for doing this with me today.
Yeah, absolutely, man. My pleasure. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jason.